One of us is from Chicago, not me. And 2 of us are from Australia.
Very nice. And you're here on a holiday?
We are. We came over for Rhinebeck. It is. This is downtown Yarns. So we have Noro and some Ching fiber, my favorite. More Noro. This looks like Jamison. Oh, yep, nailed it. Really aesthetically pleasing. More Ching. And then it goes all the way up. Hello! Oh, here we go.
No, I grew up in Connecticut, and then my family traveled a lot. When I was little, my dad was in the Army, so. But I have what I consider to be a boring accent, like the sort of a very generic American newscaster.
Yeah.
So they all like, yeah.
It's really nice. I really like this luminous Brooklyn brand. Oh wow! How lovely. We were just saying amongst ourselves, it's really nice that like every collar is in every weight, or almost every color, I guess. Like it's really lovely that there's that continuity, the options too.
Yeah, no, it's nice. It's convenient for us too. Yeah, there's some of the speckled colors.
Such a lovely selection of the Ching fiber too. And hedgehog, it's all lovely. Hello, welcome back to the Mad About You podcast. This is not a Rhinebeck vlog. This is a New York City yarn crawl vlog. My name is Madeleine. My pronouns are she, her, and hers. And I come to you today on the land of the Gubby Gubby Cubby Cubby people of the Sunshine Coast, and I'd like to pay my respects to their elders, past, present, and future. It is a rainy, rainy day. I'm just going to sort this out. Okie dokie. So, this is my New York City yarn crawl vlog. I bought a little bit of yarn, not a whole lot, but we visited 8 shops in total. I visited 3 on the Monday after Rhinebeck in Manhattan. We would have gone to 4 except Nitty City was closed on Mondays. And then Tuesday we hit up Brooklyn and I saw 4 yarn shops in Brooklyn. So this day started, like, I think the first shop opened at 10 maybe, and that was downtown yarn. I do have, I think somewhere, I thought I did my best to collect cards from everywhere, but I think in my disorganization before I threw them down here being like, that is for yarn crawl, I'm going to ignore it when I actually need it. Correct. So my Met ticket, day 2, oh no, there we go, I lied. The first yarn shop that we went to, it was called West Village Knit and Needle in the West Village. Funny about that. So the morning we were meeting Amy, who's my friend from Chicago who came to New York City with us. Amy did the legwork basically for choosing the shops that we would go to. So in the morning, Robin and I were a bit early to meet her. So we knit in a park called Washington Park, which is very close to Cornelia Street in the West Village, where Taylor Swift lived for a period of time in 2016. I'm a massive Swiftie, and I didn't figure that out until later when we were on the Upper East Side. So devastatingly, I did not go to Cornelia Street, and I didn't make it back there. That's where my knitting and Taylor Swift intersect. But yeah, so we met up and we ended up at West Village Knit and Needle, which is a beautiful shop that had, I took some footage, so I'll insert that here. So the shop had a lot of stuff for needlepoint, tapestry, cross stitch, etc. But it also had a really lovely selection of yarns, and it also had really nice shop samples, and I really enjoy a shop that has lovely knitted samples that you can look at. So we had, it was really beautiful. I really enjoyed that shop, and the staff was super, super lovely. We talked to them about having been at Rhinebeck, and the owner also, or one of the ladies who worked there, who I think was the owner, had also been there that weekend. They were just like unpacking their stuff, and we just talked about it. I talked about stuff going on in Australia, and it was a super lovely, really lovely experience. I didn't buy anything from that particular shop. Robin and Amy both did, so that was cool. But yeah, I got their business card and I really thought that was a lovely shop. It was a nice way to start our yarn crawl, and it was a really beautiful shop as well. Yeah, so we walked up and then down some steps into the ground floor, and yeah, I couldn't fault it. It was really lovely. So from there it was like 11:30, so we went and had some lunch from a place that does, I think, Belgian fries that Amy really loved from when she lived in New York a couple of years ago. She lived on Staten Island, but she used to come for fries at this particular place in the West Village, so we went there. So it was just like hand-cut deep fried chips, hot potato, so potato chips, and then the different sauces. So there was I think Amy had a Vietnamese sauce, which it tasted like Vietnam, like a Vietnamese, it was like an aioli mayo consistency, but oh my gosh, it was so delicious. I had a can't remember what it was, and Robin's was something like rosemary and something else. I think Amy's was definitely the best. I did really enjoy mine, but I couldn't actually tell you what the flavor was. I just remember that it was nice. And then from there we went to a place called Downtown Yarn. This is their card here. And Downtown Yarns were great. They're on 45th Avenue A, New York. And we walked in, I'll also put some footage in as well. And they had a really lovely selection of Noro. They had Handmaiden, Malabrigo, Jamison, some local dyed yarns, some yarns that I'd seen at the festival. I also didn't buy anything from that shop either because I'd done most of my stuff for purchase, like my projects that I'd planned for at the Rhinebeck Festival. Amy and Robin both bought something from there. They had some really nice samples as well. They had a issue of pom-pom that I very nearly bought, but then I remembered that I bought this issue the day before, so I was like, don't need two pom-poms that you very rarely make stuff from the issues that you buy anyway. But they were really lovely. So we actually, they were probably the most COVID safe shop that we went to. We had to wear a mask inside. We sanitized our hands obviously on entry, and they also only let a certain amount of people in the shop at any one time, and only if you had your mask on. And we were in there probably for like half an hour maybe. Robin and Amy bought some really lovely yarns from there for particular projects that they had in mind. I think they might have had a bit of hedgehog, but I don't think that we did buy that. I don't think anyone bought hedgehog from there, but vaguely they did have some. And they had a really nice suri, shoot, can't remember. Might have to look it up online. But it was another really cute yarn shop that we went to in New York. And then the final Manhattan shop, because I said Nitty City wasn't open and I didn't make it back, was called String, New York City. It's on the Upper East Side. So my knowledge of New York was like Upper East Side is very Gossip Girl, lots of like well-to-do people, old money kind of, or nouveau rich, but money. And you could tell the difference in the clientele based on what they stocked. So this shop had their own yarn that had been dyed for the shop, but it was 100% cashmere. It was very beautiful, but like $180 US for this skein because it's all cashmere, and it was like a lot of yardage. They sell a lot of cashmere. They had Rowan, they had Neighborhood Fiber Company, which I did actually buy a skein of. So I bought this one here, which is called Banksy. Neighborhood Fiber Company was also stocked at String Things Studio off the top of my head, but also could have been Brooklyn General. But it was stocked in one of the, no, it was stocked in Woolen, one of the other Brooklyn shops. But I really liked this color here for the gray and the purples, etc. So I bought this particular skein, and also I thought that it would go well with this one here, and also no, another skein that I had, another skein that I purchased at another shop, is why I bought, because it would go with this one. That's how my brain works. So yeah, I had a nice selection of my neighborhood fiber company, and it was really interesting to talk to the owner because of the clientele, what they usually, what they sell a lot of. They had their own yarn actually, which off the top of my head, now that I tell you that they have their own yarn, I cannot remember what it was called, but it was really lovely too. And they also offer a finishing service, so obviously for a fee. But one of the, like, their in-house designer was actually there, and so someone had crocheted or knit blanket squares from a particular book, and I think they'd put them together one way, but they wanted them like it completed, so for a price they bundle their work up and then they give it to the shop, and then one of the ladies who works there is their finishing person, and she finishes it. So I guess if you really didn't want to sew in your ends, you could send it off to be finished, and then you pick up your completed item of knitting. So I thought that was really interesting, and it was a really beautiful shop as well. I took this cute photo of me, which apparently they usually haven't advertised like classes or whatever in there, but there wasn't any, so I took the opportunity to have my photo taken with my head in there. Thank you, Amy, Crochet Snail, for the photo. And then in the afternoon after that, we finished at like 3 o'clock, and Robin and I really wanted to go to the Met, the Metropolitan Museum of Art, the Met, and so we went and did that for our afternoon, and Amy went and sat in Central Park, and she did a few other things. So yeah, that was our Monday. So yeah, we were there for 2 hours, basically like from 3 p.m. until it closed. And we yarn crawled from like 10:30, I think it was 10, until almost 3 p.m. So that was really cool. And we could walk to the Met from String Yarns as well. So it was all Upper East Side, and then the Met I think is on 5th Avenue. So we made our way there, and 10-minute walk past Central Park, and then voila, there we were. So that was really fun on the Monday. By the Tuesday, I was feeling very yarned out. So at this point, we had done Friday, Woolen Folk, Saturday, Rhinebeck, Sunday, Rhinebeck, Monday, Yarn Crawl in Manhattan. And Brooklyn, Kat, who is Oliphant Kat, she's a designer, tech editor, all-round great, lovely friend, had designed me or written to me recommendations for a Brooklyn yarn crawl because she used to live in Brooklyn a couple of years ago. And so I sent that to Amy and Robin, and it basically, she did the 4 yarn shops in Brooklyn, and she gave us a route. She was like, I recommend this, 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 and this. These are like food places to eat along the way. I recommend you do it in this order. It was amazing, this beautiful Google document, and I so appreciated that. We ended up doing the route in reverse. So instead of starting at the top, I guess, and walking downhill the rest of the way, we ended up walking uphill, and it was basically a 30-minute walk between each shop. Once we got across, so we caught the subway to Brooklyn, like across the bridge, we got out, and then we reversed it based on opening time. So Woolen, I think, opened at 11. So we met in the morning, had a coffee, met up, we walked through Brooklyn and got ourselves to Woolen, took lots of photos. I saw the Statue of Liberty from a distance. And then yeah, we started at Woolen. Smaller store space-wise, but really beautiful. They had, I took some footage inside, which was really nice. They also, I think, like I said, they had a neighborhood fiber company, but I could be wrong at this point. I don't remember what I'm saying. The yarns that they did have had their own like house brand. They had some stuff that was dyed for them, like Molly Girl dyed a color for them. They had some yarn that I'd seen in other countries that I'd visited as well. Off the top of my head, I can't rattle them off to you, but I'll show you this little footage of me walking around. I did buy from them a skein from a dyer called Murky Depths Dye Works. It's called Deep Sock. I really liked this color here. It's an 80% superwash merino wool, 20% nylon with 400 yards to 100 grams. And the color is actually, oh, it's called Scatter Shot. And they're dyed local. I don't know if it's local, but it's definitely an American dyer. It's like moody, it's a moody blue, I would call it, like a moody purple with greens and yellows and blues, and it's awesome. I've just put that in my tea. So that was cool, and I bought that from the first shop. Actually, I bought it because I thought it would go nicely with this one, no, the mustard, yeah, for a Brio duo. I look for Brio duos a lot if I'm looking at 2 skeins. So this was cool, and that was my first purchase on the Brooklyn yarn crawl, and I bought something from every shop in Brooklyn. So next we make our way to Brooklyn General via a cafe called Swallow. We had lunch there. I saw lots of people working, and I guess like having seen New York City and how small places are, I understand why people who work remotely go to cafes and do work, because their houses are tiny and sometimes you want to be out of your same space. So we go to Brooklyn General and we're walking around, and I'm looking and I'm like, I can't see anything that I saw yarn by Knit or Dye. And I loved it, but it was DK weight, and I was like, I'm not buying, I will buy single skeins, single skeins of fingering weight with no plan, because it's easy to put them into a shawl, but with DK weight, I don't like to buy random ones. And it was a beautiful color, but I was like, I can't see myself wearing it, and I don't knit for other people very often, so, you know. So we walked around. They have a really lovely selection. This is probably the shop that I took the least amount of footage in, but it was really stunning. They had lots of fabric, accessories for fabric. I also saw Circus Tonic handmade there, and I walked in and I was like, oh my gosh, Robin, Hannah's Yarns here. And then I had a chat with the owner, whose name I don't remember, but I mentioned in the Rhinebeck vlog. And I got to talking at some point, and she's like, where are you from? And I said, oh, Australia. And she goes, oh, do you know Hannah? And I said, oh yeah, she actually sold me my first ever hand dyed yarn when I started knitting. So that was really lovely to see that in person. Lots of La Bien and Me. They also had Brooklyn Tweed. Rowan? No. Jamison. Some other dyes that I had seen at the wool show. It was just really beautiful, super beautiful. They had some Sawkill in their sales section, but it was like really bulky yarn, so I didn't buy it. Didn't really have a purpose for it. I did, so Robin and Amy bought some lovely things from there, and I was like walking out about to not buy anything. I looked at a tote bag, but she told me the price of it, and I was like, I don't need another tote bag. So then this caught my eye. I had said I'm not buying any La Bien Me because I have some in my stash that I haven't dug into. I've got leftovers from Fantastitch. I don't need any. And then this caught my eye. Not my usual colors, but it is a Brooklyn General exclusive color, and it is called Lyra. It's merino super sock, so 75% merino, 25% nylon. And yeah. So I thought to myself, what am I going to do with this? It's a single skein, another muscle bow hat maybe. I think it would look really nice with a solid color in a Brio duo. Probably not that one. I also have a nice grey that's La Bien Me, so I could, yeah, I don't know, but this kind of the speckly half really sung to me. So that was an impulse, but I'm not mad about it. So much La Bien Me all over, but I really love that Ritual dyes. And then there was another one, they had Earth Tones Girl, which I nearly bought a skein of that, but also DK, and I just couldn't justify that to myself. I love Brooklyn General. Kat had said to me it was her favorite yarn shop when she lived there, and I can totally see why. My friend Amy sent me a WhatsApp while we're in the shop, and she said, Amy's here. And I was like, and I turned around, and at the cash register was Amy from La Bien Me, and she was in an Ace and Jig and Ace dress like she usually wears. She had a handmade sweater on. We didn't kind of really talk to her that time. But yeah, she was in the shop, and I think she was maybe staying with the ladies from there, or was doing some worky collaboration thing, because she does work with them quite a bit. And I think she's in Chicago now, so like she was just staying in New York, so that was really lovely. I reckon we spent another half an hour there probably, and then we had another half an hour walk to String Things Studio, which was lovely. They were unpacking from Rhinebeck as well, so they were the other co-host, I guess. And so they were unpacking Sonder yarn. I did not buy the Wandering Flock from Wool & Folk because I was like, I'm going to Brooklyn on a yarn crawl, I will buy it from there. And I did. I bought this skein here, which is called Stormy Skies. This is the one where I went, well, it will definitely go with this, and it will definitely go with this. It is a merino single, 100% superwash. It's dyed in Brooklyn, New York. So I had to get a skein of Wandering Flock. Looking at the Wandering Flock palette at Rhinebeck and then also at the shop, I could see that my tastes had changed. Like, yeah, okay, I bought this, which is quite speckly, and this one, which is quite variegated. But everything else is fairly tonal, one tone. And I really like pastels, which are very in at the moment too. So I really liked this. It was more expensive than I was expecting. So that was a little bit of a shock at the cash register, but it's beautiful. I think that String Things are their only New York stockist, or their only American stockist, maybe. They sell online. And then they also are sold at Stephen and Penelope. So I did see it there, but I was like, no, I'll buy it in America, because why not? So I really enjoyed this purchase as well. And then for our last, I've got business cards for these guys too, and I forgot to show you. We went to Argyle Yarns. It was our last stop on our yarn tour extravaganza. We walked 26,000 steps that day. That's what my phone tells me. I actually lost my electronics bag on my trip. So I lost my watch charger. I bought another one while it was waiting for me when I got home. So I have my watch on. So it's my iPhone that told me 26,000, but Robin's Fitbit said fairly similar. So a lot of walking. And so I saw this yarn here at Argyle. Argyle, I do have their card handy. They sell a lot of Hedgehog. They also have their own brand. Oh my goodness, Madeleine, you just were holding it. Yeah, so they are Argyle Yarn Company. Oh, Yarn Shop, sorry. They're in Prospect Park West in Brooklyn. So they sell a lot of Hedgehog. They have Malabrigo, and they also have their own house yarn called Luminous Brooklyn, hand dyed in New York City. I did not buy any Luminous Brooklyn, but this is their Instagram. It's just at Luminous Brooklyn, and then you can buy it off the yarn, off the Argyle Yarn website. Stunning, absolutely stunning yarn. And I wish I didn't really have the budget for, and not because it was particularly expensive, just I'd done so much shopping in the last 5 days of yarn shopping. And there were so many colors I really couldn't make a decision, but it was beautiful. I met the man working at the shop is one of the co-owners. His wife does all of the dyeing. So that was really nice. I then saw trailers. Now, if you watch the vlog where I will talk about, I think it's in Berlin. No. Where did I go to that particular shop? It was in Vienna, in Austria. I saw trailers, but I didn't buy it there because I thought I might find it somewhere else, and I bought one skein in that shop already. This ended up being on really good sale, so that was a bonus for me because it was way cheaper. But if it hadn't been on sale, I still would have bought it, because Trailers is a dyer. I think she lives in Greece. She's French, and maybe French and Greek. Yeah, so her website is trailers.eu. She has trailers_color is power on her Instagram. And I think Amy bought some trailers as well. And these ball bands of the colors actually match the colors in the skein. So Amy's is still a merino single. It's the Zeus base, but it was bluey colors. So she had a blue band, and then I think I saw a green color, and that had a green band as well. So 100% superwash merino fingering. It's a single weight, and the color is called Surat. S-E-U-R-A-T. I'm obviously butchering that. But it's really pretty too, and it was on sale, so that was a nice bonus. But I really, I've wanted to buy trailers for a long time. And yeah, so that was really nice to buy, and it was a really beautiful shop. So I highly recommend Kat's tour of Brooklyn, but I would go in reverse because you end up walking downhill. You catch the subway or the metro or whatever, up to Argyle, and then go Argyle, String Things, probably have lunch around then, sit out the back, maybe in the backyard at String Thing, which we did get to see. The lady who was working there did show us. And then you would hit up Brooklyn General, finishing up at Woolen, and then you would basically be really close to the subway stop to get you back to Manhattan Island. And yeah, lots of awesome food and eateries around there. We ended up for dinner, we had an early dinner actually after we'd done lots of steps. We were very hungry, and ended up like at a food court place in Brooklyn. And so I had like a falafel Middle Eastern, it was like a kebab bowl really, but it was a falafel place. Robin had a crepe, savory crepe, and I think Amy had some pierogi and some more of those like fries. So that was really yummy. And it was a really great day, and it was so good. Amy did all of the navigating. We walked through Prospect Park. We walked around the Brooklyn Bridge, took lots of photos. I'll have footage in here. It was just a really, really lovely day. I really enjoyed exploring the city with Amy and with Robin and being with fibery people. And yeah, the yarn shops were awesome. So yeah, I did a yarn crawl. The New York City yarn crawl was actually like 2 days before, 2 weekends before we visited, but they were giving out these pins, so I got one, and it's gonna go on my pin wall. Be like, we did our own New York City yarn crawl, and there is a Brooklyn yarn crawl as well. I think they had badges as well, so I feel like I got something else. I forgot about it. Right, that's the same. Yeah, so at String Yarn, I also Lisa Hoffman, I think, is the owner. I also got this here, which is it's called String Yarns. It's a yellow cab, which is synonymous with New York, I guess. And it's just a 2-inch ruler, so like it was way more expensive than I expected as well. I think she told me it was like $5, and I was like, oh, I can do 5, which is like 8. I think it ended up being $7 or $8, so which ended up being like 12. But it's cute, and you know, it's a Katrinkles item, but it's made for String Yarns, and it has their website, so that was fun. And I thought it's a nice memento from my time in New York City. That is the yarny wrap up for my America yarn section. I've recorded the Rhinebeck vlog as well. We will do the European ones in a little bit when all of my post arrives, because I posted yarns back to myself, and I want to talk about that all together. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed my yarn crawl. I had a ball. It was really fun. Yeah, recommend if you're in New York City. Brooklyn, I would say, takes a day. It took us from like 12 till 4:30, or from 11. We probably met up at, I think we met up at 9:30. We're in Brooklyn by 10:30-ish because we walked a little bit and then caught the train. And then we're yarn shopping from 11 till probably 5:30 p.m. actually, and then had dinner. So make a day of it. Go see Prospect Park, and it was cool. All right, I think that's enough for me. I need to go eat some lunch. But thank you for watching. Hopefully I will see you again. I'm Madeleine, and this has been the Mad About You podcast, but it is a New York City and Brooklyn yarn crawl vlog. Bye.